this, man. It's frustrating because the suppression is serious. I can't get this message across. So whoever listens, if you hear this, please share it. That's all I've ever asked. And do your own research. So I want to start off with a number. 42 million. 42 million is a very significant number for two reasons. One of them is 42 million represents the African American community in the United States, which the African American community in the United States has a spending power of $2 trillion as consumers every year. That's what they average. Had the African American community in the United States had their own country, they would have the 13th richest economy on the planet. So that's phenomenal numbers if you really think about it, because the African American community just so happens to make up one of the most impoverished fucking communities in the United States of America. And the other reason why 42 million is significant, because I'm going to explain to you and show you how for every 42 million of us, we average about $2 to $4 trillion a year in spending. So if you go on a population of 350 million people, that it explains how in 2024 we spent $19 trillion as consumers. In 2021 we spent 2025 we spent $21 trillion as consumers, and this year here 2026 we're on track to spend 22 trillion. And that means we're roughly around 50 to 70 trillion dollars right now. No, I'm sorry, 40, 50, yeah, about 50 plus trillion dollars this, in the last 3 years alone. And that's more than the national deficit. And I'm bringing all this up for a reason, is because I'm trying to address poverty here and create something that would allow us to address poverty in America. And I just can't get this message across, and I don't understand. Aside of asking people, like, please just do your own research to verify what I'm saying here. And you can fact check me. I'm always open for creative criticism, but I've done the research, and this is why I keep bringing this up. It's tormenting because it breaks my heart for us to continue on the way that we're doing, and seeing how this administration is just gutting all our resources. And at my age, it's concerning more so because I would have to work probably another 30, 40 years to get a decent retirement. And at my age, I'm probably not gonna live that long. And there's millions of us like that. I'm Gen X. I'm 49 years old. So there's plenty of us out here that are dealing with this issue, aside of what's going on with our senior citizens and so on. So the idea here is that how do I convince the people when I say our spending power as consumers is our superpower, and we're not seeing it for what it is? And if you take that 42 million, for example, let me break this down for you, man, like as slow as I can, right? Let's go with 150 million people, because the country is divided, for the sake of fairness, right? The country's divided, let's be real. So for every 42 million, how many times does 42 million go into that 150? That's 3.5 times, 3.5. So if on average we spend $2 to $4 trillion for every 42 million of us, let's just round this shit off to be fair at $7 trillion. You take that $7 trillion and you divide that amongst 150 million people, that is $46,666 each. If you divide that same $7 trillion evenly amongst the population, which is roughly 350 million people, you're looking at like 20 grand. So for 2 years now, I've been coming online with these details and bringing this out there. And I'm saying that if we created a system that would allow us to spread the wealth amongst ourselves, we can end poverty and homelessness in America. And that has been one of the most difficult messages to get across, and it's phenomenal. It just blows my fucking mind, because everybody carries on about raising the federal minimum wage and taxing the rich, but no one looks to take action and take accountability for what we do and how we treat each other. And it's like no desire, no vision to pick ourselves up, as they say, pick yourself up by the bootstraps. And we have the numbers, we have the resources, we have the technology to make this happen. So what will be needed is a software developer and an economist, so that they can get together, crunch up the numbers, and figure out how to offset these payments, create an algorithm through this app that would allow the payments, and the payments have to be automatic. So there's no accounts for monies to sit around. So automatic payments, and one of the requirements would be that we select the names off of the list and fund people directly. So therefore, we're working simultaneously, side by side with this app, and we're all participating and helping each other out. So for example, just imagine, right? So the days that this app selects whatever number of people, so we're going with 150 million. So the day this app decides to pick 75 million people, the 75 million that did not get picked is what's available to the public when we go fund it. So we fund the app, we fund people at the same time, and you can fund as many people as you want. Million of us doing this at the same time, we're guaranteed to look at 10 to 20 grand a year. And the beauty of it, because I'm extreme, and the idea here is not just to fund each other, but why is it that if poverty, one of the things that causes poverty in this country is the fact that the elites, corporations, and the churches do not pay into the tax system. They do not contribute to the economy whatsoever. We fit the bill on everything. We subsidize everything for the churches, for the corporations, even for these sports teams. We're the only ones paying taxes. So why is it that we continuously fight to tax the rich and a higher federal minimum wage, which has been done before, by the way, and it's only going to place you in a higher tax bracket? So we're just repeating history. I fight for a tax-free incentive instead. That is my war. That is my fight. That is my whole initiative with this. So we create a system that would allow us to spread the wealth amongst ourselves, and we do this tax-free. We generate a tax-free dollar for once in our lives. So let's go back to the numbers, like I mentioned. So take that 7 trillion and you divide it evenly amongst 150 million people. I said it was 46,000 plus. If you divide it evenly amongst 350 million people, that brings you to 20 grand each, right? So to be generous here, to be considerate through such a system, if we create this project, if we get this launched, I am convinced here from the research that I've done, we can generate anywhere between $3 to $6 trillion. So for the sake of fairness, let's just take the 7 trillion and go with $3.5 trillion. That would only mean that if we split that 7 trillion in half, the 46 that I mentioned earlier is 23,000 now, and the 20 is 10 grand now, and there is your 10 to 20 grand a year tax free. We end poverty and homelessness in this country immediately. I don't know what it is that has us. It's a program, basically. If you really want to consider this, it's a freaking programming, man, that we're so dependent of this government, and we sit here and complain about everything, but we don't take action to better ourselves and create a better quality of life for ourselves. We rely on these folks for everything, but yet we want to complain about everything that they do. Can I join your live? Yes, you can. Let me Aubrey Torito. I'll figure that out. I am not really good at this here. Let me see. Can I join your live? Is there a request button you can hit? Let me see. How do I invite you on here? I'm trying to figure it out. All right, this is not working. Are you still there? Probably not. So yeah, either way, my job here, or my mission here, has just been to, to convince the people that we need to think and create for ourselves and stop allowing these people to make all the decisions and choices for us. We pay into everything. So it's like, why is it that we allow these people to micromanage every second of our lives and every penny that we earn? And Aubrey, if you're still around, I do have a TikTok and a Facebook, by the way. This should be in my bio. And so yeah, that would be the idea again. So we would need a software developer and economist. I've been trying to get a hold of people. Like I said, I've been suppressed for so long. I've sent out so many messages, tagged so many people, and I cannot get any response or replies from anyone. 2 years into this, at best, I've had 2 people tell me, yeah, the people aren't ready for this, but no one has fact checked me. No one challenges me on this. No, like, there's just no dialogue whatsoever, man. I can't get people to conversate on this. Like, talk to your loved ones. I've always said that. Talk to your loved ones. Talk to your friends, your community leaders. Talk to your organizers. Get the word out. That's all we need to do. Just get the word out. Because where there is a will, there is a way. And we can make this happen. The kind of money that we generate, again, our superpowers, our spending power, and we're just not seeing it for what it's worth. And it's sad that we can carry on arguing about raising the federal minimum wage. And again, just to get into a higher tax bracket. Wow. So we're just calling for individual success. That's the issue. Like this greed, the selfishness that we want this individual success and others stay behind. And it's why we can walk down the street and walk past homeless people like it's okay, like it's fucking normal to see people eating out of a fucking garbage can. And that shit just tears me up. And there's a way of doing this and addressing this issue, and it's up to us, because it's obvious these people, not just this administration, just government period, they're not gonna do anything about it. They're not gonna. They just built concentration camps to put homeless people in. That's what they did. That was their solution. And yeah, and the only way we're gonna create a better quality of life is if we put our shit together, put our ideas together, and put that effort forward, man. Because even the SNAP program, we don't even need that. If you really consider everything I just said, now this gives you an opportunity to invest. We need to put this out in the open and make it more available for people. This should have been taught in school, investments and budgeting. And we got now with a program, such a program in play, you have monies to freely invest in IRAs, mutual funds, and trust funds. There is your retirement right there. You don't have to worry about your Social Security. And you replace the SNAP program instantly. We don't need shit from these people. In fact, they need us. We don't need them. I don't understand how we're not seeing this. It's just mind-blowing. We carry on like this. Anyways, I guess I'm done right here. I'm going to wrap this one up. Keep it short, I guess. You guys have a good evening.